Welcome to episode number 5 of Bird Noises, an Atlanta Falcons podcast about football and mostly everything else. Today we're joined by one of the all-time great Falcons, former receiver Alfred Jenkins. Alfred, welcome to Bird Noises.
Thank you, Matt. It's good to be here.
Super stoked to have you here today. Can't believe it's the 5th episode, but it is. Time's flying by here. So this podcast is a little different, Alfred. We'll talk some football, but we really want to just get to know you. So, but one thing I do want to know is, or do want to get into, is not a lot of people might remember when you played here. So you were here from 1975 to 83.
Correct. 75 to 83. Marion Campbell was my first coach.
Yeah. So I want to just put your career in perspective for a minute, just so our listeners and Falcons fans, there's a lot of them who write in and have been there since day one, but a lot of them may not know. And I was going through your stats and your bio and your accomplishments, and it's pretty impressive.
Thank you. It's been a while since I've seen him. And I've been hitting the head so much I've forgotten.
Well, we're going to get into those days, but I just want to put I want to put some of this into perspective. So you are among the top 5 all-time leading receivers in franchise history. You're number 4, actually. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I did not. I'm sure my son does, though.
You are behind Julio Jones, Roddy White, and Terrence Mathis. You are number 4 on the list.
Oh, that's pretty impressive.
It is. It is very.
Those guys are good. They're really good.
You were really good.
Thank you.
You played in 110 games, 360 catches for 6,267 yards and 40 touchdowns. One thing that I noticed right away is that your 17 yards per catch average is higher than all of those guys. In fact, there's only one guy that has a higher average. It was Tim Dwight. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about, not just guys that had 3 or 4 catches, guys that had, multiple catches per season. But you're right up there. You're higher than those top 4 currently. You led the NFL in receiving yards, as you probably know, in 1981.
Mm-hmm. I do remember
1,358 yards and 13 touchdowns. And then from 80 to 81, you were tied with Hall of Famer Kellen Winslow, leading the NFL with 19 touchdown receptions in those 2 years. That's pretty impressive.
I didn't know that either.
You're a humble dude. So you had some memorable games, and I want to get into that. But quite a career, and well done.
You.
Well done, sir. But before we talk about all the Falcons stuff and who you played with and some of those seasons, I want to back it up a little bit and just go back to before the Falcons, before the World Football League.
Oh, that was Morris Brown College in Atlanta.
Yeah, I actually want to go back to Hogansville High.
Hogansville High?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was back in 1966.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I had a great story from there. 66 was the first year the Falcons played.
Yes.
And Tommy Nobis was going all over the state to high schools, getting people interested in the Falcons.
Mr. Falcon, yeah.
So he came to Hogansville High in 1966, and that was my first year playing football, and never had played organized football before in my life. So, and I'd never seen a football player.
Well, what year were you in high school?
That was my sophomore year in high school.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And Tommy came, we talked to the football team in the gym, and they started asking him for autographs. So I just joined the crowd and tore a piece of paper off the end of just a regular piece of paper.
Yeah, from a notebook or something.
Notebook, exactly.
Yeah.
And he wrote his name on it, so I put it in my wallet. Now, fast forward 9 years later.
Who would have thunk?
When I signed with the Falcons, I was in the locker room, and they had Tommy and a couple of other guys to come down and greet me. And When I shook his hand, I said, "You've got to see this." I took out my wallet, and
You
in
still had
that
it.
wallet
It's amazing.
was that autograph, the first and actually the only autograph I've ever had of a football player.
It's pretty amazing.
I handed it to him, and he almost had tears in his eyes.
That's awesome.
Also, that saved me. Tommy used to get every offensive rookie, especially running back and wide receiver in camp and practice.
Yeah.
If you came across the middle, he'd indoctrinate you. He'd have to at least once during camp, he'd get you, with the
When you mean
clothesline.
get you a clothesline.
Clothesline, yeah.
Yeah, back when it was legal.
Yeah. He never did me. And it was because of that moment in the locker room. And
Well, you made a living over the middle, but
Yeah.
But we'll get into that too.
Okay.
For you, because you were in high school. Now you were what, 5'8", 5'9"?
I was 5'8.5" and 145 pounds in high school.
All state, 3 sports:
Yes,
track, basketball, and football.
that's correct. Yeah.
I did my homework.
Been a long time.
Let me ask you this: was football your first love since you didn't play it till your sophomore year?
No, football was not my first love. Baseball was my first love. Matter of
Really?
fact, Ted Turner offered me a contract to play baseball,
Wow.
but Rankin wouldn't let me play.
while you were with the
while I was with the Falcons, yeah.
Okay, because you played what? You played in high school. You were track.
Track, football, and what was the other one? Track, football, and basketball.
Basketball. Yeah,
But
that's what I had.
We didn't have a baseball team.
But yet they still offered you a.
Yeah,
you-
because I played
had speed,
baseball in
catch the ball.
college. I played
Okay.
baseball in
at
college.
Morris Brown.
At Morris Brown, yeah.
All right, that's where we're going with this. So, 3 sport, all state. You discover football. You meet Tommy Novus, and you got on the football field. And what happened?
Well, like I said, never played organized football, so I had to learn how. Fortunately, we had 2 pretty good high school coaches, a guy named Don Hendricks, and he was a great teacher. He was a great teacher. So fundamentally, he taught me well. So by the time I got to college, those 3 years I played in high school, I was a pretty good fundamental football player and fast.
Okay. So, were you recruited? Were you recruited at all, or no?
Out of high school, yeah. We were recruited by most of the major colleges in the South.
And yeah, you.
And as far away as Notre Dame and Kansas, the Jayhawks.
Wow.
Right.
And so you end up going to a small
college. I was
Small-
not going
was it
to
private-
play
it was
football.
Morris. Oh, okay.
I
Oh,
was not going to play football. After I got to Morris Brown and saw how big the players were, I was in the stands for homecoming, 1968, and their smallest player was about probably 200 pounds.
who are we talking about? now?
Morris Brown. Morris
Okay.
Brown. And I've never seen a man that big before in my life, and I was not about to play football on that team. We had to practice with guys 3 times my size.
They were that big at Morris Brown.
Yeah, that year we had the largest offensive and defensive line in the country on average
At Morris Brown.
at Morris Brown. We
Go
had at least 5 guys over 300 pounds on offense and at least 4 on defense. Yeah, but it was
I could make a joke there, but I won't. But,
yeah.
maybe-
Well, I played running back in high school.
Yeah.
And it was the coaches wouldn't let me play running back in college because it was too small. So I returned punts, played defensive back, and finally moved to wide receiver.
Because most NFL lines back then weren't that big. That's
No.
where I was going with that joke.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. That's
wow.
exactly right. This is in 66, 67.
So Speedy, I'm guessing you were pretty fast in college because you were pretty fast as a receiver in the NFL. So you're running behind this huge line. I'm sure you.
This is in college now.
Yeah.
No, they wouldn't let me play running back. It was
Oh.
too small.
Oh.
Matter of fact, I was too afraid to play running back in practice, so they moved me into wide receiver.
Okay.
And punt returns and defensive back, and finally just wide receiver. Period.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, I was.
So did you put up big numbers? That's one thing I didn't. I wasn't able to get
college?
like stats. Yeah, Morris Brown, your stats.
No, I'm well enough to make All-America.
'Cause-
Small college All-America.
But you weren't drafted though.
No, I wasn't.
But you got a tryout though.
My first tryout was with the Houston Oilers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dallas came in and tried to sign me first. They came in immediately after the draft. But that didn't work out, so
Okay.
the Houston Oilers. Finally, I signed with them, went to camp, and stayed in camp up until, second or third preseason game.
Okay.
But I only went there they only signed me to catch punts and kickoffs. They didn't let me play wide receiver.
Special teams guy only.
Special teams, yeah.
Interesting. So this is fascinating. So
And then after I got cut in Houston, came back to Morris Brown, student assistant coach, and finished school. And
what was your major?
I majored business administration and psychology.
What'd you want to do back then?
Oh, I was going to join the Air Force and become a pilot.
Really?
That's what I was going
so
to
were
do
you like
before.
ROTC and all that too? Or?
No.
Okay.
No. It's just
You were gonna get your degree then join? Like go in as like you'd go into what, is it second lieutenant or something like that, or with a degree?
No. I didn't get that far.
Okay, but if you
I
had
the paperwork. I had the paperwork.
Okay.
I had the paperwork, and the World Football League formed. And
Right.
I was
74.
This is 74. Yeah. I was working for a state program, filling out, helping people fill their income tax returns out. And
this is after things didn't work out with Houston.
This is after Houston, yeah. A guy named Solomon Brannon, who played in 4 leagues. He played in the NFL, the AFL, and the WFL, another league.
No XFL back then.
But he still lives here in Atlanta. He went to Morris Brown too.
Okay.
But I was at work that Saturday morning, and he called me and asked me if I wanted to go watch guys try out for the Birmingham Americans. Had a camp here in Atlanta.
Interesting.
And
okay.
they had 400 people out there trying out that day. And we're sitting in the stands, and Mr. Brennan says, Jink, you're as good as any of those guys out there. Well, he said, why don't you try? I said, I didn't bring anything. He tricked me out there because he had shoes, shorts, and T-shirts in his car.
Oh,
so I went out, got on the field, and to make a long story short, that day out of 400 people, they only signed 3 guys, and I was one of them.
Wow.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, so you end up being the team or league MVP?
MVP of the team.
Okay.
Not the league.
Had a pretty good year though.
Yeah, we had a great year. Matter of fact,
Before
we won it all.
went.
We won it all. We won a championship. We won the championship that year.
I didn't realize this, and maybe you can give me a little backstory here. We don't need to spend a lot of time on it, but Ken Stabler, the great Raiders quarterback, played at Alabama. I read that he had signed a contract with Birmingham, but then some circuit court judge had ruled there was a breach of contract. And I don't know. Did he end up playing with you or no?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
They tried to get Kim, but
yeah,
something happened. He never. George Moore. He used to play with Minnesota.
I don't know.
He was our quarterback.
Okay. Oh, Jim Moore.
Jim Moore, yeah.
Jim Moore.
And Matthew Reed.
Okay.
Jim Moore was a starting quarterback until Matthew
look
Reed
that
took
up.
over. Yeah.
All right. So things don't work out with the World League, not because of you, just the league didn't work out.
Yeah, the league folded. Went bankrupt. The first year became the United States Football League the next year. But I wanted to get in the NFL. The prestige thing.
I'd say.
Yeah, so I came. No better place than to start at home.
Yeah.
So my attorney and I talked to the Falcons, and
they needed receivers back then too, right?
It was a perfect time for receivers. Yeah, they needed receivers, and they signed a whole lot of receivers that year. But I didn't sign the first meeting with Pat Pepler, the general manager. So they didn't offer enough money at the time. So I went home, and I was going to call the Green Bay Packers because there was a coach at Green Bay who coached me. He was the coach when I was at Houston.
Okay.
And he told me if I ever got a chance to call him, he called me when I was playing in the World Football League and told me if I wanted to play with Green Bay. Anyway,
Green Bay back then was like the franchise, right?
It was too cold in Green Bay.
Yes.
It's
a little cold. Yeah.
Well, anyway, I ended up signing with the Falcons because the coach, Campbell said that anybody that caught 65 balls and 13 touchdowns in any league could play for him. So he talked to the general manager, and the general manager called me, and I came back out and signed with the Falcons. But Marion Campbell was the main reason I signed with the Falcons.
Yeah, I read that you two had a pretty good relationship.
Yes, he was a good man. He was a good man.
So you signed with Atlanta, and we were talking about Tommy Nobis not long ago, and there were a lot of lean years for this franchise, especially early on.
Oh man, yes.
And while you played, there was 1 year in '77. You guys went 7-7, but you had only 2 winning seasons, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
You went 9-7, 1 year, and then 1980 season.
1980. That was 12-4.
Yeah,
it was a good year.
But yeah, your reputation was you were fearless over the middle. You're not a big guy. I mean,
when I got here, first year here, I was 159 pounds. And people think that's small. Well, that's tiny compared to small guys in the league. Now, guys are 185, and they call that small now in football. Yeah.
Okay. But still, the rules were a little different back then, as you well know. And if you went across the middle.
Well, you could almost get killed. They could hit you anywhere with any part of the body. The rules were the hardest I've ever been hit, and I'm still looking for this guy. This was in the Pro Bowl back in '82.
Wait, you're not supposed to hit in the Pro Bowl. Come on.
Oh man, it was 3rd and 17. Went over the middle with an in route, and Steve. We had 9 guys in the Pro Bowl that year. So Steve was the quarterback in the Pro Bowl.
Steve Bartkowski.
Yeah. So he threw the ball over the middle. The ball, myself, and Gary Barbaro got to we were at the same point on the planet at the same time, and I stopped, and he hit me, and I went straight down. On the way down, I could hear the 50,000 people go ooh, and he stepped over me. And I can't say what he said, but it was a cuss word, because I still had the ball.
We'll beep it out here.
Noises, well, anyway, he said when he stepped over me, because I still had the ball.
Yeah.
Well.
Oh, he was mad.
Yeah.
So you held on.
He was mad because I was still alive.
Oh.
He hit me that hard. That's as hard as I've ever been hit in my life. And from that point on, after my eyes cleared up and I got back to the huddle, and it was 20 people in the huddle. So Steve called. I told him not to call the pass play. He called the running play, and I went to the sideline, went past Lehman, who was our coach.
Did you guys have that much freedom,
What?
in the huddle at that point in a Pro Bowl?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had that much freedom, when we played the regular season. There was a lot of talking in the huddle.
Times have changed.
Yeah, well, yeah, they have. But I don't know what they do now.
Not to interrupt, but I found that little nugget interesting.
Yeah, but anyway, that's as hard as I've ever been hit. And from that, I looked for Gary Barbaro from that day until I retired. I never played against him again.
I'm not even sure I know who he is.
He played for New England.
Oh,
he was a safety.
Okay.
Safety, and a darn good one, too.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's as hard as I've ever been hit.
Well, good on you for holding on to the ball.
Well, that's your job.
Yeah. So let's talk about your those years with the Falcons. Obviously, we'll get into the 1980 season as a separate, if that's okay with you. But what were some of your favorite teammates and memories? I was just kind of looking at the list. You played with, obviously, Nobis.
Yeah, Tommy. Claude Humphrey. Jim Mitchell.
Jeff Van Note.
And
the
Dave
quarterback?
Scott. Pat Sullivan was a quarterback here my first year.
Okay.
Pat and Bart and Scott Hunter was a quarterback, was a backup quarterback.
One of my favorite players to watch was William Andrews.
That was my next name. Alfred Jackson, Andrews, Bubba Bean,
Gerald Riggs played
Gerald Riggs,
right at the tail end of your career.
Oh man, yes, you're getting there.
And of course, Mike Ken.
Mike Ken, yeah, Mike. You haven't seen Mike in a couple of years. He was, he came in same year I came in. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what were your favorite memories as a player here?
Well, my first year, most of the good memories were in training camp. You know, the jokes you play on people in camp. Jim Mitchell and Claude Humphrey peed in a bucket for a week.
Is that because because it was just set up so differently back then? I mean, people don't realize there's just like you guys had like fields and trailers and.
Oh well, we had camp at Furman University.
Okay, so this is
in
up
Greenville,
in
South Carolina. We stayed in a dormitory.
Oh, okay.
And
so you guys use a bucket.
No, Claude and Jim would urinate in a bucket.
Yeah.
And they tilt it on your door and knock on your door.
Oh, so when you knock on the door.
So yes. So Haskell Stanback and I, who was my roommate,
that's not cool.
We got them back.
Uh-huh.
We bought two big fish, and put them in the ceiling in your room. See, when you find one, you think you got it.
Yeah.
But the scent is still there. So that's how we paid them back. And from this day, we had a guy.
That doesn't go away anytime soon either.
We had a guy we called the Phantom, and he'd come in your room and do all kinds of things.
Who was the Phantom?
We never found out. To this day, we still don't know. But I'm pretty sure it was Wallace.
A player?
It was Wallace Francis.
Okay.
He will never admit it, but I'm pretty sure he did some
disturbing things.
Yes.
The Phantom, huh?
But the best memories were in camp. We had a good time when.
That's awesome.
Before guys got cut. You know.
Yeah. So the hazing thing was a real thing.
It was very real.
Because you hear the stories of guys getting taped to the goalpost and getting the haircuts and having to sing. And
Claude Humphrey and Jim Mitchell put shrubbery, leaves, over my car. They camouflaged
dead leaves.
Yes, they camouflaged my car.
It completely covered your car.
Completely covered it. Yeah.
Well, that took some work just to get them the leaves.
Well, then they told me the more guys harass you, the more they like.
It's a good sign.
Yeah, it's a good sign. So.
That's well, thanks, guys. Thanks for the love.
That's the lie they told me.
Wow.
But memories, I guess my best football game memory was the New Orleans game.
Oh, yeah. You had, is it the November 1st, 1981 game?
Yeah. I think it was
5 catches for 179 yards, 3 touchdowns in one game.
Yeah. That was the year, yeah. And in that game.
Yeah, set that one up because Falcons fans can't get enough of.
Well, we
beating up on the Saints.
Bart Kowski and I had our own signals. He had his own signals with all the receivers. But if we both read the same coverage, and most of the time, if it's man coverage, then he'd
pull his cage.
pull his face mask, or I would pull my pad up, my knee pad up.
Like you were adjusting it.
Like I was adjusting it to let him know that, hey, and nobody, but he and I knew what the play was going to be.
Not even the coaches.
Not even the coaches, because it was an audible. Okay. But it had to be on a pass play called in the huddle in order for us to change it. So we did that at least 6 times that year and scored.
And nobody picked up on the
we had a different signal every game.
What were all the different signals?
Well, I put my hand behind my back, or just scratch my beard. Or
did you ever adjust your knee, and you were supposed to do your back one week? And
no.
Okay, you guys always
had the signal down. Yeah.
Okay,
but never given the wrong signal. Never did I give the wrong signal, or nor did he. But that was fun. But nobody.
That's amazing.
Only 2 people in the stadium knew what the play was, and that was he and I.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So tell me about that game though, the Saints game.
Oh, well, that's where I was going with that.
Yeah.
2 of those touchdowns were because
audibles.
Of those signals. They were audibles, yeah.
Wow.
I don't remember. can't remember all
the play, the actual play.
Well, the actual play was just 50.
Okay.
50 a go, straight
just a go route.
Straight go. Yeah. One was on a screen. When the play in the huddle was called a screen to William Andrews.
Which isn't a bad option.
But we changed it. He and I changed it at the line because my assignment on the screen is to run the DBs off.
Sure.
Yeah, and you have to go full speed every time to convince these guys if you're going to run them off. Otherwise, they'll come up and make the play.
No taking plays off.
You run full speed every time. So, in practice, we used to practice it in practice. You call a screen, and your job is to run the guy off. But if you've got him beat, then we throw the ball. So it was an automatic. I mean, but only you and the quarterback knew that. There were times when Barkowski would throw the ball. I remember him hitting a guy in the head on a go pad, and the guy wasn't looking.
Yeah.
He hit him in the top of the helmet. He did that more than once in practice.
He was a really good quarterback, and because you guys had so many, not so great years. Do you feel like that he gets his due?
No, he doesn't, because his first couple of 3 years here, he didn't have an offensive line.
Yeah.
He was he wasn't the most, Bart was a pretty good athlete. But after the first couple of years here, oh man, he tore knees, hurt elbows, and so that kind of it banged him up. So he became just a drop back quarterback after that.
You remember Jerry Ray, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Jerry Ray was on.
I just talked to Jerry not too long ago.
He was on a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Sitting right where you're sitting, and he said that Bart was one of these guys that he was not like Joe Namath. He did not seek the limelight.
No.
Is that accurate?
He still doesn't.
Still.
He's kind of shy. Yeah. It was. Yeah.
Kind of goes with the job now. You're kind of the face of the franchise now. Not kind of, you are.
Yeah, but he wasn't. He didn't seek, any kind of publicity. The guy's he's still that way. That's why he's living out in Montana, Wyoming.
Yeah, he's out west.
Out west, yeah.
I wouldn't mind being out west. Yeah. It's going to be a cold winter here, you said, right?
Yeah, well, it's burning out there now.
Yeah.
It's very hot. But it's going to be I think it's going to be a very cold winter. You see the animals are
We'll get into that in a minute. That was fascinating.
Early.
We got to talk about your weather prediction here. So, yeah, just kind of going through the cast of characters. You played with the who's who of Atlanta Falcons history outside the modern era.
Yeah, outside the modern era, yeah. Oh, there's so many guys. I can't name all of them, but even though we didn't win a lot, it was actually fun.
Yeah.
It was actually fun.
You talked about some of those crazy stories in training camp and stuff like that. I had Michael Jenkins on here, and I asked him some kind of different questions, but I'm guessing you guys in the huddle, it sounds like you guys were given a lot more freedom to call your own plays, or if a pass play was called, that talk about the huddle a little bit.
When you're winning, everybody's involved, and the coaches give you more leeway because they have more confidence in you. Winning brings the team a lot closer together. Everybody knows that. But I remember that year in '81, we were playing. I think it was San Francisco. May not have been but we were behind. But they left too much time.
Not 80, not the magical 80, or this year after.
This is the magical year.
Okay, so
The magical year.
Okay.
Yeah. But they left too much time on the clock, and we're marching down the field, and I come back to the huddle, and I'm throwing up, and Jeff Van Note, he's directly across from me in the huddle. He looks at me and says, "Get out."
Was it a game here in Atlanta, Fulton County?
This was a game here in Atlanta.
Home game, okay.
Yeah. He looked at me and said, "Get out, you're throwing up." Well, I looked at him, and he was bleeding. Even from his nose down his chin. I said, "You get out. You're the one that's bleeding."
Top of his helmet hit cut his nose.
Yeah. And Bart said, "Shut up." He called the play. Next play, scored a touchdown, and we went on to win that game in the last couple of seconds.
Oh wait, this isn't the.
Well, we came from behind in about 4 or 5 games that year.
Yeah.
We won 9 out of 10, and I think 5.
Because you played in 1980. You guys beat Frisco 2017, and then you beat them 35-10. It looks like.
It may have been somebody else. I've been hitting the head a lot now because I can't remember
That's
everything exactly.
No, I know, but that was. I want to talk about that season because that season was.
That was magical.
Yeah.
Except, I mean, we were the best team in football. We just
unbelievable year. NFL Films has a piece on you guys.
Yeah.
And we sat and watched it in the office one morning, and it was an incredible year.
Yeah,
you guys,
it
was full of drama. It had everything. You guys just steamrolled through the year. I mean, you start off 0-1. You were 1-2 at one point. You were 3-3 at one point, but then you go on this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-game winning streak.
Yeah.
And then you lost in overtime to the Rams, and then you had the playoff game to the Cowboys where you were up.
Oh, I thought we ripped off about 9 in a row that
year. Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
24. You were leading 24-10 to the Cowboys.
Yeah, and the second half just.
You had a ginormous game.
Yeah.
4 catches, 155 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, I dropped one too in the end zone. 10-yard touchdown pass on our first drive, because I had to rip my finger apart the week before, and I wasn't sure I was going to play, but I ended up playing, taping the fingers together, and that was the first pass, and I was afraid. Bart threw it kind of hard, but not as hard as he had in the past, so it went right through my hands. But never dropped another one after that.
Yeah, you had a pretty good game. That was the highlight as far as team wise, your career, I'm guessing, right? I mean, 12-4 season. It looked like you guys were going to go to the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah, it was so disheartening after the season. There was no way that so emotionally tanked. Man, I hate to think about it now. I don't like talking about that.
We won't then.
That game.
But so you end up playing through
83.
Yeah, and
80.
at what point did you say, "Hey, I'm done"? How did you know?
Well, in camp.
Okay.
In camp, I would have to get up in the morning at 6 o'clock before breakfast and run a tub of hot water, pour alcohol in it, and soak for 10, 15 minutes. That's just to go to breakfast. Because during 2 days, my body, after 17 years of football, my body was just about worn out. So that last camp, getting from the hotel to breakfast, was and then I'd have to go to the locker room and soak in the hot, just to go to practice.
Wow.
So, and after practice, felt like an old man, just hollow.
Yeah.
Jim Mitchell told me it would be that way one day, but, you don't realize it until you get there. So my body was just beat up. I was just worn out. So when I left home that year going to camp, my wife told me, you'll be back soon. She knew that I didn't have my heart in it either. Yeah. And my body had worn out by then, so I had to.
It's tough for a lot of guys to kind of come to that point, but when your body is telling you, does it make it easier or no?
I fortunately I listened to mine, so I didn't end up getting maimed.
Yeah. You watched a lot of guys though play maimed, so to speak. I mean, you watched Tommy Nova's play, and he had some major knee injuries, and you talked about Barkowski.
Oh, last time I saw Tommy, year before he died, I touched his shoulder, and he grimaced, almost dropped to the ground.
Yeah.
Joel Williams, guys who played linebacker, their shoulders and their knees and their ankles are just messed up. They're really bad.
You look like you're in pretty good shape now. I mean, I'm sure you probably have some aches and pains here and there from the game still, right? Or
Oh yeah, I couldn't run. I can't run. I got. I'm a lot worse than I look. I put it that way.
wow.
Yeah.
What do you do in your spare time now? Where are you living? What does Alfred Jenkins do these days?
Oh well, I am retired, relieved, and rejoicing, as Rooster Cogburn would say. That's about it. I
Yeah.
mean, I haven't worked in 2 years.
Okay.
I turned 65 2 years ago,
I'm envious.
and I said after that I'm not working anymore. So, before then, I taught school.
Did you?
Yeah.
What'd you
And
teach?
I taught special education.
Good for you.
Yeah,
My
special.
wife's a teacher.
Yeah, I did that for 6 years, mostly substitute teaching.
Oof.
And,
That can be tough.
and then
Being a sub.
yeah, but I had a permanent
Oh, okay. Okay.
at one school. That was College Park Elementary School.
Okay.
I was there for 2 years, and I
Good for
a
you.
stonemason. Became a stonemason in college. We built stone walls.
Wow.
Yeah, so up until 2005, that was 14 years ago. After teaching, I worked for a guy named Charles Burley,
Yeah.
who was one of my college coaches. And the old man's still living now. He's about 85 years old, but he taught me how to build stone walls. And I did
Nice.
that I did that from my freshman year in college up until, well, then I retired and went back to it out of football. And my last year was 2005. I got my hand broken.
I was going to say, I mean, I don't know a lot about that kind of work, but that seems like it's pretty brutal labor. I mean, that's like,
Well, actually, it helped. It helped
Did it
my body.
okay.
1969, when I started playing at Morris Brown,
Yeah.
that summer, the coach gave 4 of us a job. And back then, there were not as many apartment buildings in Atlanta. It was growing.
Yeah.
I mean, there was something going up every day. So
Still is.
yeah, but so that's where we got the stones from the land being cleared for these apartment buildings, and the stones were free, but we didn't have the equipment. We had to lift them ourselves, put them in a wheelbarrow, push it to the truck, take the stones out of the wheelbarrow, and throw them in the truck. So it kept you in shape.
Yeah, I'd say.
It kept you hardened. It really. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that was one of the reasons why I didn't get hurt as often in the pros as I should have. I put it that
Who
way.
knew?
Yeah, but that was it was like working out the
Yeah.
whole year round.
I was going to
Yeah.
say, because today, you wouldn't catch any of these guys lifting stones or anything like that because it's a 365 job. I mean, they're here training,
Well,
and
when
they've
you got
got
training,
got
yeah.
amazing
Back then, we
facilities
didn't have these facilities.
No.
To run in the woods, we run on the streets or go to a park. And most guys who played a long time did work out the whole year round. You stayed in shape the whole year round. When I was at Morris Brown, there were a lot of pros in Atlanta, and they'd come to our college to work out. So they work out during the winter, the spring, and before football season, and that's why they came to our college. So we worked out with a lot of pros.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was.
It's pretty cool for that school too, because it's not a big school.
No, well, it's no longer it is. We do have we're still open, but the school was closed back in 2001,
Okay.
and we're still in the process of trying to bring it back. But
Okay.
it's not going too good.
Oh, okay. So you're down there. You're south of Atlanta, just relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
You have any kind of hobbies or anything? Do you go to? Do you watch the Falcons now?
Oh yes, of course.
Do you go to any games?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least 2. I'll take my son to a game at least once a year, and try to get my granddaughter into a game.
So I didn't realize that when you were walking around here today, you've never really been through these facilities. Like,
No, this is my first time inside of this facility. I've been here once. They had it was like a grand opening, and they had different players up here, and we came and outside on the field. That's as far as we got. And I've been inside the inside practice field.
The indoor.
Indoor,
Okay.
yeah, the indoor. But no, and this, I'm 70 miles away from here.
That's part of it.
That's part of it. Yeah,
It's not that
like
because you haven't been invited.
No. I'm sure I've gotten lots of mail that invited me to stuff here.
Yeah, because we need to get you up here more.
Yeah, well, now that my eyesight is better and I get a new truck, so
Oh, nice.
can't drive that much at night, but
Yeah.
if it's in the daytime, I can make it.
What do you think of Mercedes-Benz Stadium compared to Atlanta Fulton County Stadium?
Oh, there's no comparison.
Yeah.
I mean, one's a stadium and the other is a football field.
Yeah.
That's what it amounts to. Yeah, but Fulton County Stadium, that was our home for a long time.
Yeah.
A lot of good memories there. Yeah.
Yeah. Good relationship with the fans.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I hear all the time the players talk about how they got to know the fans on a personal basis. They would eat dinner with them. Claude Humphrey told me a story how there were certain fans, like, I said, gosh, you guys tore down the goalpost when you beat Philadelphia for that first playoff when the fans were just going nuts. He goes, you have to understand. He goes, they knew us.
Yeah.
There was a relationship with us.
Yeah.
And so
well, not only
when we
did
won, it was
they
like,
know me, I went to school here. So I had a lot of relatives, a lot of friends here in Atlanta. I mean, got people that tailgated after the game. I mean, we became friends.
yeah, that's
became
awesome.
Friends.
It's not like that now, is it?
I was the 75 or 76, the one and only time that I got booed. I dropped
Early in your career.
the first year was a 75.
Yeah.
Dropped a touchdown pass, went right through my hands in the end zone. Sun got in my eyes. But they booed me that on that play, and I did that, but nobody saw it.
Told them they were number one.
Yeah, and I was looking to get fined the next day from the league, but I never got booed again because I said, "Oh, that's an awful feeling."
Yeah, you
That's
just
an
don't want to
awful
be
feeling.
booed.
Oh no, not by 50,000 people.
No.
Well, that might have been 40 because we didn't fill it up too much that year.
I'm sure you're paying attention to this season now because you talk about the highs and lows.
Yeah.
And right now, the 2019 team is on a 4-game losing streak right now. Got a big one this weekend.
Yeah.
Los Angeles Rams coming to town. What's your thought process when you as a player, do you block out that stuff, right? Or I mean, what's going through their players' minds right now, and what when you look at this team, does it remind you of a time, or do you remind you of a time or a team you were on where you kind of, yeah, I've been there, and what's this team need to do to kind of to turn this thing around?
Well, they better forget about last week and think about this week. It's not easy to do, but it's not difficult to do either.
Yeah, that seems really easy to say. But
well, yeah, but if you get down on yourself, you start thinking negative stuff and thinking, here we go again, then you're defeated already. But as much money as these guys are paid nowadays, should be able to get it up.
Motivated.
That means you don't need to be motivated. You should be, you're not by anyone but yourself, even though it does help. It's tough because you work to win. I mean, winning solves almost everything.
Yeah.
Winning makes almost everything, better. But
players play better. Players are better players. Coaches are smarter. Everything, right?
On Monday, the traffic, driving down the expressway going to work, the fans are happier. So everything is better when you win, and just the opposite when you lose. So it's hard. If you could just say something to make things better, you would do it.
Yeah.
Sure, the coaches are doing it now, but man, win. That makes everything better. What's going on now is what I see. We're not getting enough turnovers. I mean, turnovers are key to winning any game, and you win championships with, like they say, with defense. So,
get some more possessions.
Yes, it gives you and a shorter field.
Shorter field
for the offense, and you keep the defense off the field. So they're less tired than the other team. But turnovers. We got to take the ball away. We got to take the ball away from people.
Sounds like good advice. Sounds like because right now they're not getting to the quarterback and not scoring a lot of, or they're giving up a lot of points.
The first year Coach Quinn
defense.
was here, that was one of the highlights of the defense. They took the ball away from people a lot. So.
Well, I mean, sacks come in bunches and turnovers come in bunches, right?
Yep.
They just need to get some.
Well, you can turn the season around with them. Don't keep the defense on the field so long. Just take the ball away from the other team.
So you believe this? You believe this team can turn it around?
From 1 to 5.
It's been done before, a handful of times, 4 or 5 times.
Whether I believe it or not, it's
Don't
not
matter.
going to happen. It's what they believe.
Yeah.
And if they believe that they can, and there are enough games left.
Yep.
People have put together winning streaks, and this division may be tough enough for 9 games could maybe get you into playoffs, but there's still a tough league with 10 games left. You got to run the table.
Well, if anybody knows anything about beating the odds, it's you, Alfred Jenkins. From Hoganville High to Morris Brown to the WFL to just your awesome career here. It's been awesome having you on today.
Oh, it's been fun for me. Long drive, but
hopefully it was worth it.
It's worth it, yes.
Well, thanks for coming on Bird Noises, and we look forward to having you back maybe toward the end of the season or at the end of the season.
I'd be happy to.
That'd be awesome. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
All right.
Hi, I'm Alfred Jenkins, former Atlanta Falcon. You are listening to Bird Noises.